So today we're going to start our unit on informational books, our writing unit on informational books. And this is going to be our first session where we talk about kind of how to get started with writing that informational book. And the really cool thing about writing informational books is that you really get to look at something that you're super interested in or something you know a lot about. Like some people, they know a lot about Star Wars, so they could write a book about that. And some people might know a lot about makeup. They could write an informational book about that. Or what about video games? There's lots of topics that you guys know a lot about. And for your informational book that you're writing, you'll get to use that information to write a book about it. So today, though, I want to teach you that writing an informational book is similar to teaching someone something. And one of the things that teachers do when they teach something is they break down the topics into smaller pieces so that it's easier for their students or the learners to grasp the concept. It's easier for them to learn it if they break it down. So teachers and writers both try to think of a logical way to organize the information so that the learners or the students can learn the information they're trying to teach. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. So here are some different ways that nonfiction can be organized. So nonfiction can be organized in chronological order. This happened, then this happened, then this happened. It can be organized in a ranked list, like this is the best, then this is the next best, and this is the next best. Sometimes it's organized by pros and cons, the things that are good about it and the things that aren't so good about it. And sometimes authors will talk about things that are the same and things that are different. So they can talk about similarities and differences. So these are 4 ways that nonfiction can be organized. So now I want us to think about it. Here, our main topic is video games, right? So we have 4 different chapters about video games. One of them is the best video games of the 21st century. One of them is gaming systems, Xbox and Wii. One is the history of at-home video games. And then the 4th one is Minecraft and Fortnite, similarities and differences. So I want you to stop the video here and I want you to think about what way each of these can be organized. So just take a minute and look at these topics and think about how they can be organized. And then we'll talk about them in just a minute. So let's look at the first one. Best video games of the 21st century. So I'm thinking you're going to tell what the best one is, and then what the next best one is, and then what the next best one is. So it's probably going to be a ranked list. What do you guys think? Now the next one, gaming system, Xbox or Wii. I think that in this chapter that we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of each, so maybe you can know which one you want to buy. So that actually is a way it can be organized. The pros of an Xbox, the cons of an Xbox, the pros of a Wii, the cons of a Wii. Then we have the 3rd chapter, the history of at-home video games. And I think a perfect way for that to be organized in chronological order. When did video games start? What was the first video games? Where did it go from there? That kind of tells the history of the video games. And then the last chapter, Minecraft and Fortnite. We can have similarities between the two and differences. How are they the same and how are they different? So the text structure for that one would be, or the way it would be organized would be similarities and differences. So as a writer, when you're thinking about your different chapters, there might be some ways that they can be organized. You broke them down into small parts, and now you're going to organize them so that you can teach your learner how the information you want them to learn. You want to teach them what the history of a video game is, then the best way to teach them that would be to talk about it in chronological order. You understand? Okay. So here, I thought, well, I'm going to show you guys my topic. So I decided that I was going to do the topic being a writing teacher. And what I did first was I went down and I just wrote down 6 different like mini topics in between it. What are some things that we'd be talking about? So I thought teaching mini lessons, conferring with students, modeling writing, inviting students to share, getting ready to teach, and writing lesson plans. So just take a minute and look at those, and then we're going to kind of talk through them here. So the first thing is I really don't want 6 chapters. And I think that getting ready to teach and lesson plans should actually go together. I think that right there is one topic because getting ready to teach is writing lesson plans. That's one of the things you do. So I think those can go together. I also think that when I model writing, I do that when I'm teaching lessons. So I think that could be part of that one, right? So this here, number 3, I think I'm going to put as part of teaching mini lessons. So that's the first thing you can do. You kind of look at them, you think, well, how am I going to teach this? How do I want to organize it? And you see if there are any of them that can go together. I think a good number for you for this book would be 4 different chapters. I think 4 chapters is a good way to go. So I have my 4 chapters. The first chapter I want to teach is getting ready to teach. That's going to be my first chapter. And I am going to talk about writing lesson plans in there. The second thing that I want to talk about is teaching mini lessons. And I'm going to include how I include model writing when I do that. The third thing I want to talk about is conferring with students. That's a really important part of my job as a writing teacher, talking to kids about their writing and helping them making it better. And then the last thing, because it's the last thing we do, is we share our writing. And this could include just sharing it with the partner, but it also could be publishing our writing. So these are the chapters that I think that I'm going to have. The first one, getting ready to teach. The second one, teaching a mini lesson. The third one, conferring with students. And the fourth one, inviting students to share. Oops, let me erase that. I thought it would stay on that, but I'll go ahead and erase it real quick because this is what you're going to do today. Let me erase that. I wish the eraser was bigger. So today I want you to write a list of possible topics for your informational book. That's going to be the first thing you do. What are some topics that you know a lot about that you're really, really interested in? So that's going to be the first thing. Then you're going to narrow it down to just one topic. So maybe you want to, you're thinking, okay, I want to do hot air balloons. I want to do video games. I want to do The Simpsons and maybe How to Train a Dog. And you think, well, I know a whole lot about video games. So that's going to be my choice. That's what I'm asking you to do here in the first step. I'm asking you to make a list of things that you know a lot about and you really care about, but then narrow it down to the thing that you know the most about or the thing that you care the most about. After you pick your favorite topic, then I want you to do what we did. I want you to break it down into smaller pieces, like being a writing teacher. I broke mine down into 6 smaller pieces. That's how I started with it. And then after that, those are going to be the 4 different chapters you pick. So I want you to stick with 4 here, or try to stick with 4. 4 different chapters. And these chapters or subtopics are going to be your table of contents, because you know how nonfiction books have table of contents. So you're going to get to have a table of contents, and you're kind of making it first. Then under each topic, so you might like label them out like this, you're going to think about what you already know about that. You're going to write down some notes. And then you're also going to think about what structure would fit that chapter, right? So you're going to think about how are you going to, as the writer, how are you going to organize your chapter, just like we did here. We looked at those and we figured out which would be the best way for them to be organized. And so that's what you're going to do. You're going to not only make notes what you know about it and what you want that chapter to be about, but you're going to think about what structure fits that chapter best. Okay? And then what I'd like you to do is jot those down. Maybe take a picture of your journal and email that or send that to your teacher. And then tomorrow we'll be back to do session 2. I can't wait to see what kind of informational books you guys are going to write.